So we're ready to start the continued public hearing for Loring Road's Scenic Road site plan review. Is anyone here to make that presentation?
Is it 50?
Yeah.
50 Loring?
50 Loring.
50?
You don't know what's
Yeah.
Meetings? Hello? When we were, the last session that we had for this, we were encouraging a design that was more compatible with the contours of the land. And so I think that's where the focus is going to be tonight. And who's going to be making the presentation?
Jayla Warren, Diane.
All right. And
I'm Sean McGrath.
all right. Are you the owner?
I'm the owner.
Okay. And we've given this about, well, it says 15 minutes. We'll see. If you could try and do your presentation in 15 minutes, we could then open it up for comments and questions from our consultants and the board, and anyone in the audience that would care to make one. Just so that you know who we are, I'm Ali Watt. I'm the chairman of the planning board. Yep. And my other members are
Sue Zacharias.
Steve?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Jay, you're going to lead off the presentation, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is the what was approved at this time. This is what we did for the submission last time, based on the sidewalk. So this is kind of what we had before this latest revision. So just kind of give you an idea of the retaining walls, basically wrapping around the entire property. We had the grading in the front, same with the trees in the front, and then we had basically the lawn line there and the AC units on that side. So since then, what we did is basically took a look at the grading of the site, and you can see we reduced the yard and the lawn in the back, and basically took the retaining walls, let the garage be one of the retaining walls for the project site, and so we eliminated this entire section of grading. By doing that, we took the tree removal from 30 to 32 down to 18. So we saved 14 more trees by doing that. It also removed the need for any kind of special permit for the cut for the foundation grading.
Balanced?
It's not balanced, but it's below the 1,000. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So what we do is it's a 900-yard cut in the back, and it's a 200-yard fill in the front. So it's still a cut site, but it's below the 1,000. And so ideally, what we want to do is keep the front the same. That was based on the sidewalk. Basically limit the disturbance here, save all the trees that we were saving in the front. Only basically take down a few on the side. Septic system as shown originally, and then basically make all our disturbances on this side and try to work with that. We also added one more stair two more stairs between the first floor and the garage to try to get more elevation right there to work with that grade change. So we can bring up this area here so we can kind of get less cut. We can also kind of work at the side a little bit more. But we thought our biggest impact was basically directing it on the garage, trying to stave all those large existing deciduous up on that side.
Okay. All right. Otherwise, the leach field stays the same. What about the stormwater?
The stormwater is exactly the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we haven't changed that. And then we took the AC units that were along this back side and put them here. Basically on the 2 Meadowbrook side.
Okay. All right. Architecture?
What?
That's right.
Yeah, the interior thing is, I think the survey of the area homes.
Oh, sorry.
So the team did a little bit more research on the surrounding architecture, and then especially around the Loring Road and the other types of the houses within the 200 feet area of 50 Loring. And we were able to many different, different styles, sizes, and obviously materials were, present in the neighborhood. So you can see that there are shingle styles, obviously, but, you can see the, colonial style homes with the dormers, which is quite similar to what we are proposing to do. And then most of these houses are very close to the road, and whereas our side is much further back. And it's kind of present, it's clear that a lot of these alluring sites are on the cut site. So you can see that if the houses are leveled off, especially on the right-hand side, if you have a 50 alluring on the left side. So we feel that the way we're approaching the existing site with the new building, as much as it's challenging because of the existing driveway, we're trying to work around, and we're trying to preserve the front portion of the lot to the, which directly addresses to the Loring Road as much as we can. And we're making a lot of, in a way, changes only to the back, but from the last hearing to this hearing, as Jay showed you earlier, we cut down a big amount of the cut field, and we preserved many more trees to the, especially neighborhood side. And I think that we have a, good sort of a, siding of the house right now. And what we also did was actually, Jay can show you several other floor, just different block setting. We rotated the house 90 degrees. We rotated, we actually located the house right on top of the existing, site, and we actually twisted the garage and whole night there. So we had 6 different iterations of a study just to see how that actually makes impact on the site. And all of the studies we actually went through resulted in 20,000 number of site disturbance. So there wasn't too much difference between whether house is sitting the way we are proposing versus the sideway this way or further back, the entry to the side. We had all those different studies of iterations, and the calculation came out was very similar. So we feel that the way we are proposing is appropriate for the site.
Yeah, it's kind of
Jay, your other color now from...
exactly. Yep. Yeah. Just to go kind of what Dan was talking about, 4 iterations that we were talking about was basically included 2 scenarios that actually basically put the house in alignment with the former deck house. This still basically kind of where my hand is, not even counting all the way up to the section. Just through this section here, these are all about 20,000 square foot disturbance areas. And so when you look at the site plan, it's the same thing. It's basically right there. So it's all that. Everything is all, even when we shift the house, as soon as you put a garage in, as soon as you try to create a small yard in the back, you still end up with disturbance. And so, just as I did this for just a play around with today, here's the existing house, here's a detached garage, here's a retaining wall in the back to create some kind of yard. You still have, basically by the time you're done, it's still the same amount of disturbance. Okay, so it's not as if we didn't look at it. It was just one of those things where by the time you're done, because of that slope, by the time you try to create an area to put a house on, to work with, with the driveway and try to create some kind of yard in the back, you end up with the same kind of disturbance number all the time. And that's still, these aren't, as you can tell, these aren't expansive lawn and yard areas. And that's what Sean was getting to. What I did is, I want to make sure that we weren't trying to propose something that didn't make any sense. So what we did is that this is basically here's Loring Road here. We're on basically this section right here. But this is the whole Double Hill Road, Double Hill through that section there. We looked at lawn areas and lot areas for what people have for yards in our 300-foot of butter. So that's Loring Road, some on Meadowbrook Road, that kind of stuff. The average lawn was 11,600 square feet, which equated to about 17% of the lot areas. We're proposing 9,300, which equates to about 15%. So that, I just wanted, those are the numbers you start looking, okay, these were just checks today. It wasn't, that's not a plan thing, we just did it, and I said, you know what, let's see if we're keeping with the neighborhood. We also looked at how Double Hill was actually developed, all these lower lots, and there's about 52 residential lots that actually come off Double Hill, and about 36 of them have either large retaining walls or large plateau areas. So that's about a 65% of that. They basically developed it either much more than we're showing or at a minimum what we're showing. There are some areas that were built, without walls and plateau areas, but it's a large portion of that area. That's how they developed it, because of those slopes. And with the new design, we also have an updated landscape plan. So Karen couldn't make it tonight, but you can see that basically we try to be in keeping with the original landscape and then enhance it with the plantings. I think the biggest key is basically the plantings along through the front and then through the side, which these on this section here are 4 white firs that are 10 to 12 feet tall. Down here are 5 limber pines that are 10 to 12 feet tall. And then these up here are, those are the magnolias that are 8 to 10 feet tall that we have proposed right now. That just enhances that's because, as you know, these are all large, deciduous, large evergreens as well. So we want to get lower canopies in there.
Where's that weird green thing? Looks like
These up here, these are all
Existing.
these are all existing saplings. They're all like 2 or 3 inches. So we just locate them as an area because we couldn't show all the individuals. But we want to show that basically when these grow in, there's going to be a giant buffer there. So they're all just existing little saplings that all this stuff come in.
Okay. What does the architecture look like? Same thing? It's
Yeah.
not though, because it's changed because
Changed. Garage.
back wall of the garage is now a retaining wall, so.
Right.
And there's new steps added.
Yeah.
Steps inside. So, I mean, the elevation-wise doesn't really change. It's actually the changes happen inside and between the garage volume and the mudroom access. So what I don't show here is the back here, this whole 32 feet plus 7.5 inch side. It would be the retaining wall now. So the section goes up this way. Before we had the lawn to come around the back of the garage
The
to come
retaining wall
around this way.
extends
It's
beyond-
perpendicular.
Yeah, it's a perpendicular, exactly perpendicular. So this
No,
wall
no,
itself,
it keeps going though.
yes.
There's an additional one
There's
there.
additional, just
What is it? And
How much
high
is it?
This one here.
What's it made out of? How high is it?
This is going to be a fieldstone retaining wall.
Fieldstone?
yeah.
Okay.
I actually need to look after.
Oh, no.
It's in the back.
Here it is. Here's one here.
Nope.
No one shows it on.
That's
Yeah. So that's the one.
Yeah.
that's 4 feet.
Yeah. So what happens is this is about 3.5 feet right there, and it goes down to 3 feet, and it's a fieldstone wall.
Yeah. Okay. And you don't have architectural elevations or? Yes. Okay.
So we have some cross sections.
Oh, good.
So this is the front of the house, and then what I don't show is the 3.5 feet tall retaining wall at the back of the house, the back of the garage, I should say.
Yeah.
So the whole style of the house we had before doesn't really change. It still kind of sits on the proposed 142.5.
About 140.
140, yeah, at the site, so it's much a little bit lower, brought it down from what we had before, about 2.5 feet. And this is the side of the house, and this way you can see the garage kind of a tilt that direction. But if you look at the site plan,
The feedback we've received was to try to be more respectful of that side and recess that into the hill and be create less of a disturbance in the back, less retaining walls, less backyard. And that was I thought the mission we received from the board last time. Yeah, that was the charge.
kind of working with the grades, so that we kind of focus on that. So we kind of try to work with this volume, all the different studies of a different siding of the house, so it's sort of only kind of based on the the size of the house.
So what is the current budget?
It's It's under 6,000, 5540.
That's the proposed.
Yeah, that's proposed.
The current is 1,808. It's just like that house.
Yeah. No change in the lighting?
No change in lighting, it's still very low.
Yeah.
It's,
It's in the back there.
It's 8,310, so it's the same as we presented last time.
All right. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, I just want to look up close, because I saw an interim plan, and it made a suggestion of Karen to add some more on that. So she added,
The one on the side.
Did you talk about what's up here?
yeah,
We have, this one that we talked about. Something like that. This is one that wasn't submitted.
yeah, yeah. So is this not what you're submitting?
No, this was for, that was what I submitted to you, or that's what Karen did. Karen and I did this on Friday. We haven't done it. This wasn't the plan of doing so yet. This is for
Okay.
discussions, because I didn't see the comments yet.
Okay.
We had, she actually went to Alaska, so I don't know if she actually. Yeah, so these are, there's five of these,
Yeah,
of these LGs,
yeah.
which are the Inkberry hollies. So, those are
We talked about larger evergreens.
larger evergreens,
Couple
up along that side over there?
Yeah,
Okay.
just to screen to the neighbor.
Okay.
here.
Yeah, we can do that.
That was my
Okay.
comment.
Okay. What size were you talking about, Kim?
She has some of the times on
Actually, you know.
there. Yeah, so 12 to 14.
Okay.
How many additional?
Goes up, so I think 3 at a minimum.
3 right in that corner?
In
kind
this
of?
corner, yeah,
Somewhere.
in this zone
Somewhere
here.
here?
Yeah, where, I mean,
And here?
there's gonna be roofs to
Right.
contend with, so I think they need to be shifted around a little bit in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, to screen that neighbor.
Okay. And was that, was that it otherwise?
Yeah, that was
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. Dave, I assume that it's basically the same as last time?
Yeah, I mean, it is, it's really kind of your global issue for it. We dealt with stormwater last time.
Planning board comments? Anybody?
Considerable improvement
Could we see the front elevation
in
again?
terms of land use, with less of
We're gonna
a
take
big.
over 1,000 yards off that site.
Yeah, we took when we cut off that side, it was about 354 yards I cut. Giving back to this one.
So this is also sort of a 3D study we did, looking up at this existing picture, and then we located the proposed building volume there. And you can see the amount of, these are the new lighter green, these are new trees we're proposing, and these are all existing. And you can see that, right in front of the driveway, you really do not see the new structure that much. So it's very well screened off.
Do you have a sort of cross-section of the neighbors?
Yeah.
So this is looking up at the property, and here's the neighbor's house here. So you can see what we try to do is kind of keep this elevation basically continuous across the side. And then you can see the ridge height from the neighbor kind of, it's about a third into our attic side. So there's the neighbor's house. There's the existing deck house, which you can see shown right down an angle.
How does the ridge of the existing house compare with the proposed?
To the
ridge of
proposed,
house?
the existing ridge is 159.5. The proposed is 174, so it's about 14.5 feet tall.
And you can
And
kind
what
of
is the ridge of the next door neighbor's house?
The next door neighbor, 165 plus or minus.
And the other one will be?
174. Where you can see it's when you come across, we're about a third into the ag space. We got another 9 feet.
But the average lot height of this is higher than their lot. Loring Road goes off to the MWRA line. So the average lot height is.
Yeah, our elevation is much higher. That's why that's where that cut gets generated, part of it, because we try to lower our house to get to be the same elevation as the butter as we were trying to build into the lot, which then started generating that cut right off the back as soon as we came out of the back of the house. And on the side, you can see here's the existing house underneath. So it's basically, it's us adding that second story. That's just kind of,
Do the neighbors have any comments?
So the rock wall that you said is going to be the same material, you talk about it coming off of the garage being
fieldstone wall?
Fieldstone,
Yes.
is it the same
Yep.
fieldstone on the other side?
And I don't think it will be visible from your side. It's going to be cut into the hill, so it'll look like natural.
Yeah, just
It'll disappear.
walk up the hill sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. The one from the driveway side, you'll be able to see that one, but the other side's all cut. So that one, you're only going to be able to see maybe 2 inches of it, because that's the upgrading side. That's behind the house. But the one, yeah, on the garage side, you'll be able to see some of it.
I mean, I think it's better than it was before. So-
Yeah, it works a lot better with the lot.
It's an improvement. I still think you're putting a square peg in a round hole, or a round peg in a square hole, and if that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. I appreciate the efforts that are being made to make this thing fit better on the site, I really do, but I just don't think that that's what this site ought to have on it. I'm an architect. I've lived here for 21 years. I've been practicing for 33, and I feel very strongly about that. But, it's your right to build what you want, and we do appreciate the good faith efforts that you've gone to minimize the impact.
I know that my board members were sort of looking for a more contemporary sort of terrain following home, but it was interesting to see the survey of all the properties in the neighborhood. So many of them are contemporary, not large. They're mostly these colonial things. So it isn't that this is totally inappropriate.
While conflicted, I'm a direct abutter. I think anything over the existing deck house is a wild improvement. I think it is a dilapidated, rundown home with very little value. It doesn't add any character to the neighborhood. I think the proposed landscape improvements that Karen has drawn are
I do appreciate
wildly better than.
I do appreciate keeping
For a
all those
streetscape perspective.
cathedral-like trees
Yeah.
there. That was key with me, actually.
I think the survey that Diana done of, if you put this house right up to the very front limit on Loring Road, it would be a total disturbance to the character of Loring Road. So I find that a far more expensive development to push this back 140 feet from the street and to cut into the hill like it is, but I think that's most respectful of the scenic road.
Yeah. You had a comment?
Yes, we're at 1 Meadowbrook, and I guess just from our perspective, we do look straight out into this home, and from our perspective, this would be an improvement. I do think the current structure is really dilapidated. This would be a best improvement for us.
Okay. Yes.
Just a side comment, I wasn't going to say this, but when Sue said comparing to the neighborhood overall, I had made a note, when you start talking 300 feet distance and you start to go up Doublet Hill, I mean, I'm near Doublet Hill, I'm just as near, and it's completely irrelevant to me. You can extend your range of comparison so that you capture either the highest point in Weston or the second highest point in Weston, which includes severe grades, and then you get these numbers like 65%. I mean, I'm a number jock, as good as anybody, I think. Terrible architect, but, so I would just like to know what the 200 foot or whatever the guideline distance is to if you want to talk about comparisons, I don't know that that's necessarily the guiding measure. It seems to me, from what I heard in the previous session, that the guiding measure is how the proposed site fits best on, the proposed development fits best on the site, preserving as much of the natural contour. I mean, that's the whole idea, I thought. But I just wanted to object as a matter of record to the idea of extending the range of comparison so that you can capture the highest point in town, which includes the super steep grades.
Yeah, but we were trying to sort of see the different examples of the certain houses that are sitting on the hillside. It wasn't necessarily to say, well, including the number of houses we were looking at, but it's pretty clear that more than 50% of the houses on the hilly site usually result in, severe cut or plateau of the foundation. So we are comparing to what's, the way one can actually build into the hillside.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, when you extend it through, let's hear what the number is for 200 feet.
Well, that's the lawn number, and actually the photo survey that Diana done. Those are 300 feet. That's our butters that we're supposed to notify. So those are both based on that. What I was doing was just basically I looked at the town GIS and I saw that giant hill coming down. So I was just a number going, okay, how did this whole area deal with Double Hill? Not just the road, not Double Hill Road, but just how everybody on Meadowbrook, how everybody on Loring on the high side.
I could be wrong, but I thought 200 foot was the standard.
Well, 300 feet is the abutter that we have to notify, and that's how we do our RGFA number, and that's how Diane did her house number, and that's how we did the lawn comparisons.
It's pretty typical.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, the only thing I would say is that it's a matter of approach. And if you're a designer, if you're an architect, you're trained to listen to what the land tells you. But the other approach is to think of what the image of the building is that you want to create, and then adapt the landscape to fit that image. So those are they're coming at the problem from two different directions. The outcomes are not. Sometimes they're synonymous, but most of the times they're not. So what we were encouraging your architect to do is to approach it more from a design perspective, at least in terms of the landscaping and the consideration of the site, right? And see if there wasn't a way to adapt the preconceived image of what the house, what the house would be, to that aesthetic of working with the land. I think you've made a sincere effort to try to.
I think that's the rendering that Jay had showed you, was we took several different house designs, given a plate, and tried to shift it around, regardless of what the front elevation looked like. It was still going to be a disruptive issue, and we tried to be respectful of disrupting less along the neighbor's side, and using the back of the garage as the retaining wall, and
If
trying
you
to set
start
it as
from the
natural
premise
setting.
that this is the image of the house that you want, then the question is how can you achieve it with the least amount of impact on the land? That's the thing.
Right, but I think the one thing that, obviously what we submitted is a design, but before we got there, we did, believe it or not, we did study many different rotations and different houses. We had an entry on the side, we had a farmer's porch on the, like next to the garage entry on the side. I mean, we did all those things.
Did you
So
consider an up-to-date deck house? Because that's what was the beauty of the deck houses, is that they were able to fit in to the landscaping better. Obviously, one that's dilapidated and looks awful is going to, not be pleasant. But in terms of style, or in terms of functional space
I think
on
that's
landscape,
driven by me as the client owner of the land, is I like the client.
I mean,
I find that
That's
bottom line.
but another thing is that when we play with the existing deck.
No, the last analysis, it's your call, because it's your land, and it's.
But going back to the deck house, I mean, so basically existing deck house doesn't have a garage. So when we added two-car garage volume to it, we literally attached it to the existing, the tail of it. So we added that on to make it work with the existing driveway. and it wasn't working, so we actually separated it, and then, you know, the whole existing driveway is really steep after you kind of come to this point now, so it was not working with the
The gentlemen were never suggesting replacing it with a deck house. They were actually talking about
keeping it.
no, a more contemporary home. But the point is, you happen to really like the colonial style, and you've made this one, and that's okay. You like come do it, you know, it's not a problem.
That's okay, but it's the wrong house for this piece of land. But it's totally okay to prefer colonial design. But it's just, it's the wrong house for the site. Like David said, it's trying to put a round peg.
I think the architectural features of the walkout basement on the far side, I think separating the garage and tilting it was a late decision. I think setting the garage into the hill, so we tried to take the house and accommodate the
You've done the
terrain.
best you can with the image that you have.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree too.
Just one other thing about, sort of what Susan was talking about with the retaining wall that's high. And there may be lots of cases on Dublin Hill where that's done, particularly on Meadowbrook, which I think is right, but not on Loring, or not high. I mean, there's only a few houses that are on Loring that are on Dublin Hill as well, but not, you know, that's right, it is unique.
There's no proposed high retaining walls.
No, fairness.
We've taken all those out. I think our highest wall is less than 4 feet, 3.5 feet, I think is our highest wall. So we really tried to set it into the hill.
Yeah, I think they've done all they
soften it.
can, frankly, and with taking a colonial and trying to make it work with the site. And the gentlemen, I think our work is done.
You sound like you're moved to.
I'm simply looking at that clock, and really, I'd love to get home before 2 a.m. That's what everybody else is doing. So everybody's spoken to peace? Okay, so can I move that we close this public hearing for 50 Loring Road, site plan, Scenic Road, site plan review? Don't tell me it's not going to be second.
Serves you right.
I can't say.
Guess so.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Is that unanimous?
I don't know. I heard. We're not going to win.
Reluctantly renovation.
I heard that. Thank you.
Good. I mean, thanks for listening and
Trying.
You submitted them electronically, put them out in front of the board, and then I'll collect them. How many do you?
It's not exactly.
Okay, unless you need one for yourself, I'll put them all out. Sure, check with.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
I understand. We don't.